This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. Okay. Ready to go? Rock and roll. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Chelsea, and if you've ever felt like laughing and crying, especially at the same time, then this podcast is for you. Welcome
to the
everyone.
Laugh Cry Club.
Welcome.
We're so happy you're here. We're so happy you're starting the year off with the Laugh Cry Club. It's 2025. Here we go. Rock and roll. As always, just a reminder, we are 3 licensed therapists. Rebecca is cheersing her Red Bull.
Cheers to everyone with my Red
Cheers
Bull. Happy New
with
Year.
her Red Bull. And we are 3 licensed therapists. We are here to help, but we are human, just like you. So we share our laughs and our cries with every episode. And then we dig into a topic of the week. This week, we're talking about fun change. Let's start off the year with like a fun, light episode around adventures and fun change. And then we'll give you a little preview of what's coming up next week. You can always reach us on social media, Laugh Cry Club, on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And you can email us, laughcryclub@gmail.com. Send us your recommendations, topic suggestions, or just drop us a note to say, hey, we get really nice messages and it makes our day if you give us a message on social media. So with that, laughs and cries.
Let's do
Who's
it.
going first?
Well, I think we should stick with our normal tradition where I get to nominate someone to share their laugh and to share their cries. So first, I'm going to say, wow, I'm so excited to be here with both of you on the new year. And I'm going to do eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by It's Joy. You get to go first, Joy.
Okay. Well, because we didn't really take a break from releasing episodes, but we took a break from recording because we batch recorded a couple episodes before we were gone for the holidays. So we have so many laughs and cries to choose from. And I'll share one that happened when I was in Arizona. So I grew up in Arizona and I was visiting one of my really good friends. This is truly a lifelong friend. We've known each other since we were babies, grew up next door to each other. And she turned 50 a couple days after Christmas. Her birthday's right after Christmas. So she's like, I want to have a 50th birthday party with just really close friends. And so I flew out there for a nice long weekend. And we had a really good, just when you're around people that are like family, you just have like the best time and you're laughing a lot. But something happened where it was like the true example of life. The laugh happened and then the true cry happened just 24 hours later. In a way, that's what this whole podcast is about. Is like life is never going to be like totally joyful and totally sad. At her birthday dinner, her birthday was on the 28th, and we had the best time. We went to this, if you are in the Phoenix metro area, please go to Latha, Latha. It was one of the best meals of my life. It's this African-inspired, Caribbean-inspired, gourmet cuisine experience. It's like a core memory when you sit down and have a meal like that.
It's
Those
amazing.
meals where you're like, they had musicians playing the bongos and a saxophone, all dressed in African garb and beautiful dresses. They had this awesome gift shop in the back where you could buy trinkets from Africa. It was so cool. We had this amazing meal and we had such a good time and everyone was laughing and I don't know, just like those moments where you're like, wow, I'm so happy. And my friend looked up at me. She's like, I am so happy right now. This is such a cool evening. I'm like, I know this is going to be a core memory. So that was that day. And then the next day, my cry, so that was like my laugh. And then the next day, my cry was I woke up that morning and she has 2 little dogs. One hasn't been doing very well. And he's a Frenchie. And I guess Frenchies, to my knowledge, people that have Frenchies have had they just have a lot of health issues. Like their legs are always going out and they have to have like wheelchairs and they have like their breathing issues because they're no. So if you have a Frenchie, I'm sure you're like, yeah, it is a lot of upkeep for those dogs. So her dog has been he's older, but lost his movement in his back leg. So he's crawling around on his front legs. And she's like, I've been knowing that he's been declining, and I know his time is pretty short because of this. Even watching him, it was really sad to watch. And then the next morning when I was at the airport, she texted me. She's like, I'm really worried we need to put him down. And so she went to the ER, and unfortunately they did have to make that really tough
Oh.
decision to put her dog down. But I was like, we just had this cry moment where, and I cried with her because it's so hard to lose a pet. But like, she's like, it just sucks. And we were talking about it on the way home from her dinner, where she's like, I really don't want to have to put a dog down, because she knew that like something was happening with her dog. She's like, I don't want to have to put a dog down like the day after my birthday. And I was like, we'll just play it by ear. But what an example of life. Like, we were having such a good time the night before, and then the next day she was just like crushed, devastated, and like swarmed with grief. So that was our cry. But at the same time, it was like so beautiful to know that we were together and I was supporting her, and like we Marco Polo every day. So like I can check in with her, but like that's life, baby.
That is so hard, though.
It's so hard. But like that whiplash that I've been talking about was from Amy Poehler's book, of like the whole reason
Mhm.
why this podcast is so special to me is that hard right turn of like you're laughing one minute and then you're just crying the next minute. And that's where life lives. So there we are. Should we pass it to Rebecca or Chelsea?
We should definitely nominate Rebecca. I'm in. I vote yes. Rebecca?
Awesome. Yeah. So my laugh has to do with, you ever get like those really important letters that you need where you have to like sign for it? I don't know if is it called certified or something, but
Yeah, like a notary?
yeah, like to accept the
Certified.
mail, you have to sign for it, right?
Sure.
Have you ever been in the position where you weren't at home and then you had to go like to the post office? And
Totally.
it became a whole thing, like took forever.
I hope it was money. Was it a whole bunch of money?
Yeah, was it a lot of money? Just sign for
No,
alcohol.
but
That was-
maybe it's going to bring me a lot of money.
Okay, good.
So it was actually for my Texas license. So I needed this certified thing. I'd been waiting on it forever. So I had
Mhm.
like the USPS notifications on my phone, and I work from home, and my window's right here by the front street. And so I'm working one day, I get a notification that we tried to deliver this to you, but you were unavailable. And I'm like, the fuck, I'm not available. I'm
Look,
sitting right here, and I hear
watching
your
my
mail
window.
truck. And I hear your mail truck out here because I hear it every day.
You are on to them.
So
They
I
effed with the wrong
Hustled
person.
my little ass outside, went to my mailbox. It's just like right there. Opened it, and I saw the card they give you, and I saw the mail lady down the street. I chased her down with this card.
No, you did not.
I did. I'm like, you're not getting away from me. I chased her down, and she'd parked at a mailbox. And so she was like not looking at the mailbox on her right. And so she was like doing stuff with the mail. So I run up to her, and I'm like, can see that she's not looking at me. And I'm like, I'm like,
Yeah, like you don't want to scare her, and that's probably
exactly.
like gonna
have a
freak
heart
her out,
attack
yeah.
or something. I'm like, hey. And she jumped and screamed. I was like, hey, can I take care of this right now? And she's like, oh, yeah. And so she gets my mail, and I was like, I don't have a pen. And I'm thinking, oh, dear Lord, is she going to say you have to sign for this and I don't have a pen either? Then I'm going to be like, well, hold on. I'm going to run back to my house
Let
and
me
get
run
one.
back to my house.
But she did have a pen, so I signed for it and got my letter and then came back home. But that's my
Oh my
laugh.
gosh,
But I chased the
that
mail
is
lady down the street.
Rebecca, that's
Yes, you
so
did.
funny. That reminds me of my husband once did the same
He
thing.
did?
But he did it with the UPS guy, and the UPS guy got pissed.
Really?
And that's why I was worried that your fate was going to be the same, because yeah. And I don't know, and my husband's was like, it was so stupid. It was like a pair of shoes that he like was waiting for. So it wasn't like a
Well,
licensure thing.
that is for him. He
Yeah,
loves
I mean,
fashion.
to him, yes, he does love his fashion and his shoes, but it was like he was waiting for something that he really wanted it to arrive, and he had missed the doorbell by like 20 minutes. So he like, but Rebecca, he didn't like see the person. He like went out looking for them. And I was like,
Oh,
no, that's a whole nother level of
totally took his car to find him.
1000%. And I had a little talk with him. I was like, that's a little crazy. Like, don't ever do that again.
That's like, "Excuse me, why are you rolling up on me and I'm in my delivery
Yes,
truck?
and I think the guy was, like, royally pissed that he's like, "Don't chase after me." So,
I'll
anyway,
come
that's
to
funny
you
that
when
you
I'm
did.
ready."
Do we
Funny.
call that?
I'm glad yours worked out.
That sounds just very passionate,
That is passionate. That was
like a
my
crime
laugh.
of passion.
Well, I always tell him that, like, when he gets, like, laser focused on something, he's like a dog with a bone where he can't, like,
Oh.
unclench. So sometimes I have to be like, "You need to stop. Like, hello. No,
He's
let's make
like
better choices."
he's like my old dog Charlie. Like, once he got in the zone, yeah, like the red zone, and you can't come out of it. Like,
1000% the red zone. That's actually that's a human behavior we could
it
talk
is
about at
because
some
you can't
point.
come out.
Oh my God.
There's
The
the first mic
red
drop moment of
zone.
2025.
Yes.
There is a red zone.
Yeah, so my cry I actually had a few of them, and I'm realizing that maybe I cry a lot when I watch things, and maybe I don't cry normally in my life, it's just if I'm watching something that moves me, but I watched Wicked over the weekend, and honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I love, like, Broadway, but I had no idea what Wicked was about, and I've always, like, poo-pooed it. I'm like, who wants to watch that?" Like, I had no idea what it was about. But I'm sorry, the whole thing when the animals lose the ability to speak was very tearful. I'm like, "This is so sad. I can't watch this." It was so sad. So,
Wait,
anyway,
that's when you cried?
yeah.
I thought you were gonna cry at the Elphaba's singing because that's what I made me cry. Is
No,
her singing.
it was the animals losing their ability to speak.
Okay, because I cried every time she sang, so,
Oh,
like,
wow. I mean, it's beautiful, but it didn't move me to
amazing.
tears. But
Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
was
Okay,
amazing.
yeah.
All right, I'm passing this over to Chelsea.
Oh
Our
my
21 day
gosh.
of new queen, by the way.
Woo,
Oh,
we're up and running. It's day 2 as of this recording, and I am loving every second
are
of it.
you in? Are you in,
I'm
Joy?
in. Oh, yeah. I
Yay!
listen every morning. I have it on my app, and I listen to your videos, and it's great.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
You'd be so proud of me. I've, like, restarted doing and we'll explain to everyone what the 21 Days of New is if you've missed out on that. But I think I talked about how I used to journal and, like, writing journaling isn't my thing, so I fall off of it, but what I found is the iPhone has this awesome journal app that you can do a voice memo. So instead of writing every day or typing, I just do a voice memo. So this morning on my walk with my dog, I
Oh.
was doing a voice memo reflecting on the prompt this morning, and it was just like, I'm like, "Oh, I can do this. I can do this." It was great.
That is such a good call out. And this is going to be a great way for us to hold on to what Joy said, and we will pivot into new change and how to get creative with different things. Oh, I love that. That makes me really happy. So, my laugh was oh, I laugh so much. I've been laughing. I've been having so much fun, but I went to Atlanta to meet up with my youngest sister and her girls and her husband. And my sister is the sweetest. She's like the kindest, most loving, mellow, sweet. She's so wonderful and amazing. And when we get together, I bring out this side in her, or at least she's told me, like, all of a sudden she gets like a spark of wild. And it's really fun. And so we went to dinner one night and then we went to the botanical gardens. And I did post this on Instagram in a story. And we're in this beautiful botanical gardens. It's freezing. There's gorgeous Christmas lights. There's music with the lights. It is magical. If you have not been to the Atlanta Botanical Gardens, it is just a magical place. And for Christmas, it's so beautiful. So we're walking through and it's this whole adventure. And all of a sudden, as we walk, I hear this music playing and it is a full DJ with great music. And there's these women doing, I guess it's the electric slide. I didn't know what they were doing, but I'm quick at catching on to dance moves. So I like jumped on in. I was doing the dance. My sister started doing the dance. And here's my laugh. Apparently, my daughter looked over and said to one of our friends, family friends who were with us, "This is the highlight of my night." was watching her mom and her
Oh,
aunt dance.
that's
Oh,
so
that's
I
nice.
so cute. She didn't make fun. I thought you were gonna say, like, because you know how teenagers are,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
couldn't believe she didn't make fun. And then her and my niece Sophie, they came over and they started dancing with us. And it was so, so, so fun and so cute. Oh my gosh.
I
And
saw
we
that
danced.
video and it looked so fun. I love people like that, and I love the rando connection,
It
and I
was a
love
rando
and you had this
connection.
really fun coat on. It was like this really long black and was that your coat? The black and
Yeah,
white,
it's
like,
a
furry
fur
coat?
coat that goes almost down to the floor and it's beige with big fat black hearts. I
There we
love
go.
it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, and so it's like a super happy coat. And it just looked like a really fun time. And the group that you walked up on, like, dancing, it looked like they were just, like, so excited to have more people dancing. I mean, it was just one of those moments where I'm like, "Yes, more of that."
dancing is the best. My cry was a rabbit hole that I went down a little bit last night. So I got a text message. I was up last night and I was working on the 21 Days of New for Substack, the 21-day challenge. And I was recording and I got a text message from one of my girlfriends and it was like 10 o'clock. And I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit late. Let me pause what I'm doing and check. And it was a Facebook post that she forwarded me about one of our buddies who got stabbed on New Year's Eve at this little kind of like random bar that's cute, a local place in town. So, of course, I texted him, is he okay? He was okay. He had to be airlifted to a hospital in Florida and it was a whole thing and he's okay. But I just felt so sad. I looked up the man who stabbed him, and this guy is like a 23-year-old guy. And I was talking to my husband, and I'm like, it is so horrible to think about somebody not caring about their life enough to attempt to take another person's life and what that means. What that means had my friend ended up dying, had this person been convicted of murder, or now this person's going to be convicted for however long you go to prison for a crime of stabbing an individual. And then it made me think about the gang kids that I worked with and those circumstances and their upbringing and just that collective trauma that comes from untreated trauma. And I just felt really sad about it. And then I was thinking about we had friends in New Orleans and there was that terrorist thing that happened in New Orleans or the
Oh, yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had seen on Facebook some friends who would say, like, marked safe from the driving car or whatever. And I'm like, is this a joke? Like, what is this? And then I saw it several times and was like, oh my gosh. And so it makes me think about one, the fragility of life, and two, how people's untreated wounds inflict not only wounds on themselves, but wounds on others, and how in an instant life can change. So I felt a combination of gratitude and despair all at once. And gosh, it's just so heavy sometimes.
I think, do you do that too, Rebecca? I feel like therapists look at situations like that too, Chelsea, and think about that what brought that person to this point. Always thinking like, oh, what are the choices that and the influences that made this person come to a point of hatred? And then I think that's why a lot of us got into this field is to try to understand human behavior and be helpful because we see the trickle effect of decisions and situations that can help someone onto a more fulfilling path or have the belief in themselves if they were never told that. So thank you for sharing that. And it's really sad. It's really sad that happened in the start of the new year where people lost loved ones.
Yes. So, with that sad note, we are going to do what we do best at the Laugh Cry Club, which is pivot into a
Pivot.
happier note because life has
Yes.
the both and in life,
The both.
right?
And
We're
we're going to,
living in extreme moments. And our last episode, we talked about change and change being hard. And then we thought about let's have change that is happy. How do we make happy changes? How do we make changes to make our lives better or improve or be more successful. And this is what Joy was referencing earlier, the course that I have created called 21 Days of New. And so this has been a practice I've done for my 7th year, and I revise it every single year to switch it up. But it's really about shedding what no longer serves you and renewing so that you can be heart and head connected and leaning into the best changes. So, exciting changes that are happening. How do you all start? How do you decide you want to make an exciting change? And how do you start that? And then what are some of the blocks that come up? I think there's all kinds of layers here. Let me bump it to two of my favorite humans, Rebecca and Joy.
Well, I'll reference the voice memo that I did this morning because it was talking about this very thing. So, the immediate reaction that I personally have, even when good change comes up, is doubt. I was doing the voice memo recording and talking about the intentions and the things that I want to bring into the year and the block of being doubt. But when I think about it at the same time, it's like I don't need to look at doubt as a bad thing. I'm looking at it as a teacher. So that's how I choose to reframe it. And I get excited about that because talking about it, I get butterflies of like, that's just such an automatic thing for me that I think we have a hard time thinking, how's that going to change? But it's almost like the feeling of leap in the net will appear. You just have to like jump into this unknowing without having like these grand expectations, but just knowing that this can be exciting. Like this can be exciting where we can choose to learn these lessons and we can choose to grow. And too many times we put our own expectations on an outcome to where we're almost like setting ourselves up for disappointment. So with happy change, with good change, whether it be this new year brings a lot of like working out and eating right or doing dry January. That can feel like resistance. But I would look at it as, okay, well, let's take the doubt or the resistance as a part of the process of what it's going to teach us about ourselves and get excited about that. So that's like how I've been reframing it.
For myself, would say when I go into needing to make change, if I look back on the changes I've made, I get into this place of where I feel really stagnant and that I'm feeling like there's no growth. And so I think it just wears me down and I get tired of being in that place. So then I decide I'm going to do something about it. And I would say, I look back at all the changes I've ever made in my life, some big, some small, like moving, taking a new job, doing all kinds of stuff, like a new athletic event. I would say it's always been positive. It may not feel like it's going to be positive because it's very scary in the beginning. I do have fear, but I have a tendency to be able to move past it and always do the thing. It always works out for the best. So that's how I handle it. As far as the blocks, I think the biggest blocker is my own mind. Like you were talking, Joy, your self doubt, all the ways that we speak to ourselves in this negative way that I'm not good enough or I'm not fit enough. I'm not financially well off enough to do the thing. And if we can change that mindset and how we're speaking to ourselves, I know for me, that's what I do because I recognize it. And then I can be like, this is bullshit. This is not true. Let's look at reality here. And that's what I do.
That's such, Rebecca, a good call out because there's three things that are universal that go together: thoughts, there's feelings, and there's body sensations. Sorry, and behavior. So, four things: thoughts, feelings, behavior, body sensation. Those four things all go together. We don't have control of how our body feels. If my body's tired, I don't have any control to just like be like, oh, don't be tired. Our feelings are meant to be felt. We're not changing our feelings by just saying, oh, stop feeling sad, right? Our thoughts we're able to change, but it's harder, but we are, which is why we're therapists. The easiest thing to change is your behavior. And so the shortcut to making a change is to change the behavior. Because once you change one of these four things, the other three change with it. So my behavior, if I'm intimidated to work out and I can behaviorally just get myself outside to take a walk, my thoughts are going to change. I'm going to be like, ooh, I'm actually really proud of myself. My feelings are going to change. I might feel a little bit happier. My body's going to change. I might feel less tired. I might feel a little more energized. And so if we can target the behavior, we have an opportunity to create mental flexibility, which then changes how we feel emotionally and behaviorally. And so think about like the negative thought, like Joy, you said doubt. And Rebecca, you mentioned a little bit of like resistance. When we have doubt, we can spend time. Normally, we start spending a lot of time thinking about it, right? And then the behavior is now I'm sitting here thinking about it. The feeling is I feel shitty, right? My body feels terrible. I feel low energy, whatever. As soon as we can say, okay, I notice I'm having doubt. Let me take what I call the next right step, which is researching that new thing I want to learn about, reaching out to a friend and connecting who's in a career that I want to be in, watching, I don't know, something that's inspiring, listening to a podcast, whatever it is. As soon as you change that behavior, you are loosening your thoughts. You are inviting in a new opportunity because our thoughts are lazy. They're going to always pick the path of least
Yeah, I
resistance.
love that reminder, like thoughts are lazy and that you are going micro. I think Rebecca mentioned that a couple episodes ago of like instead of going macro, going micro. Because as you were saying that, I was like, that's what I was doing. My doubt was thinking big picture. My doubt was starting to just fear the future. And that's like, I think of it's almost like that's a warning sign to everyone is like when you start thinking big picture, like shut it down because we can't predict the future.
Right.
But we can control the next right step, which I think is a really good reminder. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it reminds me of grad school. I was in grad school and one of the professors said, where do you see yourself when you graduate? What do you see yourself doing? And I remember somebody was like, oh, I'm going to be on Oprah. Another person was like, I'm going to write a book. People had all of these. And when it came to my turn, I said, I don't know. I want to get through this next class and then do the next one and then do the
Yeah.
next one.
I just want to get through this hour.
I
Yeah.
had no idea. I wasn't even looking that big. The only thing that I knew is that I was passionate about trauma, and understanding specifically sexual trauma. And and understanding a lot of stuff with kids. Those were the only things I knew. And so I wrote all my research papers on that. I did everything. And those were the small next steps. And then it was focusing on getting an internship and then getting licensed. And then after getting licensed, it was then what do I want to do? But all of those small steps led me to a really solid foundation of a career. I think had I looked at this big, what am I going to do? I would have never done all of those little tiny things that gave me the self-esteem, that gave me the reinforcement of, wow, you can do all these really hard things. And that meant reading a lot of books, finding resources, network. I mean, so many little teeny tiny steps ended up to these really big 20 years later. Like you all are on this podcast, we're together.
Yeah.
I know.
We didn't just land here. We didn't look. Did you look and
We
be like,
didn't.
oh, I'm going to do a mental health podcast? Well, we did
It
land
was
here.
manifested.
It was
manifested.
years, though, of us building an expertise, right? We didn't
Yep.
just say, I graduated grad school and now I'm going to be an expert in mental health. No, we
No.
spent 20 years. That's so
We
long.
had to do
That's so
all the hard
long.
things, all the ups and downs, learn all the lessons. We're still learning them, right?
Learning.
And it happened that because we were willing to take a chance and accept a change in our lives, we all three ended up in the same place of work. That's because we all said yes to something scary. Because we wouldn't be
It's
here
true.
if we hadn't said yes to that.
Yeah.
I want to
my
say,
gosh.
I want to add too that I feel like some people wait for something positive to come to you, like, oh, when I finally get that promotion at my job, or when I finally am able to when I have kids with my partner, that's going to make things better. I'm going to feel more joyful about life. A lot of us sometimes wait, like, oh, when that thing happens, when I get that new car, I'll feel better. But you know what? You can do that now. Like, let's take action together. Like, don't wait on it because waiting does nothing. You just suffer for longer. You stay in this
Yeah.
what if or why not me. You have to take action in order to make it happen for you.
It's almost like you are expecting that thing. I've read it somewhere called the arrival fallacy, where it's like when you get this will make you happier. But it's that whole thing of wherever you go, there you are. As you were talking, I was thinking about how you do one thing is how you do everything. And a trick that I play on myself, Rebecca, I'd be curious to know if you do this too, because you're a workout person, or even Chelsea, now that you're going to the gym a few times a week. Like, look at you. Is if how I do one thing is how I do everything. So when I am in a workout that's like really challenging, I will either cut like an interval short, or I'll be like, I just don't feel like pushing myself this hard, or like, and I pay attention to those thoughts because I'm like, oh, is that's my brain doing some weird, like, you can't do it. Now I understand working out is not for everyone, but I mean, like, that's a benchmark for me. I know I can do it, but I will like cut corners. And I'm like, where else are you cutting corners in your life? Maybe pay attention to themes as far as the change that you want to do in your life, that maybe you're waiting for something else to happen. Like, are you doing that in other areas of your life?
You know what? I'm so glad you said that because I used to be like that where I would be doing like a hard workout and I would cut corners. I was just thinking this the other day at the gym because I'm training for our high rocks in February. And I'm like, what happened to me? This is really hard and I'm not cutting corners. And it's not because before, maybe because I'm being lazy and I really could have done it. But now I'm listening to my body. If I cut something short, it's because I'm not feeling well, not because I'm recognizing my mind's gotten stronger. So it's really interesting to see how
Oh,
much you grow
yeah.
through life too,
Yeah.
because I used to do it.
We get self esteem and self confidence from hard work. It's not from natural ability. So if you look at research with kids and you tell a kid, oh, you're so smart, you're so beautiful, you're so this, they didn't do anything to earn that. And so there isn't confidence, there isn't self esteem with that. I mean, you might have a little bit of a boost, but then you're very fragile. So when you look
Mhm.
at going back to what Joy said, how you do one thing is how you do anything. If you start with a small step of, I want to make this change. And so I'm just going to make sure I get up and make my bed in the morning. Because when I walk by my bed, it's one thing I completed, it's one thing that's done. I'm just going to make sure before I jumped on this podcast today, it's been bothering me. My back porch has been bothering me. And I had 5 minutes before we were recording. And I'm like, I'm done thinking about this. I've written down on my to do list. By the time I wrote that down, I could have just done it, right? Do the thing. Just say, what's the little tiny thing? And when we do that, okay, so why am I saying this? Let me give you the context. Create space. We are walking around going, I should be doing this. I need to be doing this. I have this task. I have this thing. And then you have this big goal in front of you. How are you going to get to that goal if your mind is cluttered with all this crap in front of you? That's a to do list. So do the basic of the daily things that you need to get done so that then you can start taking all the other steps to get there. Does that kind of make
It
sense?
totally makes
Yeah.
sense. It's like the whole behavior piece where you were talking about earlier. And it reminds me when you're talking about kids, especially with building confidence. When I worked with kids, we always said mastering tasks builds confidence. And we need that. We need that motivation. So what you're saying, what I'm hearing you say is before you can even talk yourself out of it, your body has to move. Like movement comes first. And I do that all the time, Chelsea. I will like put something off or I'll complain about it. And I'm like, nope, you're moving, you're grabbing the hammer, you're hanging up a picture frame today because we just moved in. And I'm like, oh, we got all this shit everywhere. So like you have to get into that habit of like taking care of things before your mind is really good at talking ourselves out of things.
Clearing.
Oh,
Clear
yeah.
and create space so that you can get clear about
Hmm.
what change you want to make. If you want to make a change and you don't know how to get there, I would say the first thing to do is start clearing space. When you clear space, you're creating emotional flexibility, you're creating time. Time is such a weight when we're wasting time on all these other things. Start moving, and that can be a block. This happens to me. Tech has been a whole thing for me, which is interesting because I'm in tech now. But that was something that was so intimidating for me. And I was in bed last night talking to my husband, and I was like, oh my gosh, like if you would have been like Chelsea, you know how to create content. You know how to record this stuff online. You built a website. It did not start with, I knew how to do that. This was a lot. And take a shortcut. Do you want to know what the shortcut is? The shortcut is having a friend who's willing to learn with you or who knows a little bit more than you do, or somebody who you can, like, I've called Rebecca, like, how do I do this? Joy, how do we do this? Use your resources. You do
Oh, yeah,
Collaborate.
not
ask for
have to
help. Yeah.
reinvent things. You don't
Yeah.
have to reinvent. Somebody already knows how to do it. Ask them for help. People love to help.
Yeah. Chelsea, I like what you were talking about clearing, because I was going to ask you to how you invite positive change into your lives. And I feel like you were saying you clearing is important, right? And then you were talking about collaboration really is important. Um, I would say also like celebrating yourself. Make sure you're doing that. And be a unicorn. Stop comparing yourself to everybody else because you know what? You are your own person. You are unique. Be a unicorn. Stop it. Any other ways that you all would invite
Ooh, okay.
positive change?
The C's of change, I just thought of because we said clearing, collaboration, creative, and I'm going to say consistency.
Ooh, that's
Keep
awesome.
Consistency.
doing
Yeah.
the thing. And
Yeah.
if you find a shortcut, then you pivot in to learn how to do it a different way. Or if you find that this thing that you thought you wanted to do, last year I had this whole certification I wanted to do. I went through, almost finished it, and was like, I actually don't want to do this anymore. Then I don't say, I put in all this time. Now I need to keep doing it. No, I'm done. I know something new now. This isn't serving me. Who cares that I spent 8 months doing it? I'm not going to keep wasting my time on something that now I've changed my mind about. Give yourself permission, but consistent. Keep showing up. Keep doing the thing. There's 4 C's for you: clearing, collaboration, creating, consistent.
Consistency.
That's awesome.
How do you like to invite change? Invite good change. How do you know? Is it just like this calling? What do you get when you have that feeling of like inviting a positive change or like a fun change?
Excited. I
Yeah.
can't sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
It like
gosh.
keeps coming at you. You're like, yeah, like an idea comes to you.
Mhm.
I feel it like in my toes and my fingers. Like when you just said that, I felt vibrations in my toes, like twinkle toes. But yeah, I'm going to start naming myself Twinkle Toes because it's like a vibration almost that I pick up.
It reminds me because Rebecca, you read the Elizabeth Gilbert book. What's it
Big
called?
magic?
Big Magic, where she tells this story, and she's said it in a lot of interviews. So if you listen to listen to her podcast or interviews, she's talked about this calling where an idea will come to her, and it's like a muse where it's outside of her, and it just keeps bugging her, for lack of a better word, to bring it into existence. She got that from Tom Waits, actually, because Tom Waits was
Oh.
like in a car one day and he heard this melody and he was like, he talked to his muse and said, don't you know that I'm driving in traffic right now? I can't write this down anywhere. If you really want me to write this song, you're going to come back to me when I get home. And I love the idea of like talking to our ideas as if they're like some spiritual magic. And that's just really a great way to frame it.
Is such a good call out because we get ideas all the time. So something that I do is write it down. If I'm on a walk, I give myself a voice memo. If I'm driving the car, I ask Siri to text myself so I can remember it. And sometimes when I'm walking, I will stop and sit on the side of the road and just start writing whatever flows to me. So look at your life and notice what makes you get creative. Mine is walking automatically starts sparking creativity for me. And I would say water, being at the beach, I start getting really creative. And then remember to, at the bottom of everything, like attracts like. So if you're feeling excited, other people are going to be excited. If you're feeling happy, other people are like, it's going to be contagious. So keep the thing where people get it wrong with manifesting or like creating things is they don't actually feel that it can be true. You want to create the good feelings, high vibration feelings, like gratitude's a high vibration, love's a high vibration, joy's a high vibration, happiness. all of those things. And so if I'm doing things that make me happy, like talking to my friend Joy, who's probably happy all the time since her name is
Well, she's a
Joy.
high vibration.
She totally is. It's true. Her parents set her up this way to attract and manifest all things joyful. And that's why we're here, Rebecca.
Her parents set this in motion.
They did. So
Yeah.
you look at that, you're just going to you're going to keep bringing in goodness. So I would say adventures. We've talked about that in this
Fun
podcast
adventures,
before.
making anything an adventure. Yeah.
Rando connections.
Randos.
That is a great way to up your feelings. Like create good feelings.
As you're saying, there's probably listeners out there that I don't feel good at anything, or maybe I don't know where to start. Like these are easy ways to start. You just get out there and start mixing stuff up, because just sitting alone and thinking about it, our brain's not going to do a good job. Like we got to get out there and bounce off of other energy
Yeah.
to figure things out.
I want to encourage people, like if you're at the grocery store and somebody walks by or you're in the checkout line, have a random conversation with the rando cashier just to start bouncing energy. Bounce ideas off other people, like who your circle is. So start telling people about your ideas with people that are going to support you, encourage you. And then for movement, put on your favorite song and just get up out of your seat and just close your eyes and let the music sway you. Like
Yeah.
have a little dance party, just you and
Have
that
a
favorite
dance
song,
party.
because this is going to help the energy move in your body. Right now, it's probably in this tight ball somewhere in your stomach and it needs to move. Because we know when, like you're saying, like attracts like, Chelsea, that when the energy starts moving, other people's energies are moving and we're coming up against them. It just works really well.
It's like an experiment. Sometimes I'll be like, wow, I have the power and ability to leave my house today and go to Starbucks and strike up a conversation with a rando and like have a really nice, pleasant exchange. And like that's going to add to the energy. That's going to like the momentum's going to start flowing. So I love this. I love it.
Yeah. And then I'll plug our last kind of as we wrap this up is if you want help with this, sign up for 21 Days of New. It's going to be on Substack. It's Chelsea Walsh, WALSH .substack.com. And the link will be posted in the show notes, but you can sign up for Substack. You can just sign up for the month. 21 Days of New is going to be on. I'm going to leave it probably until maybe through February. So if you didn't start exactly on day one, that's fine. You can sign up and look, the cost, it's $8 a month to sign up. You can just cancel at the end.
$8.
I know it's
That's
nothing.
amazing.
And
That's awesome.
if you
It's
want,
life-changing.
yeah, and if
It
you
is.
want to be a regular subscriber to Life Examined, that's actually my whole writing. You can have access to all of that as well, and you can sign up for a year, or you can pay month by month, whatever. But the course it's changed my life. I've done this practice for so long. I've had friends I've shared it with. I gifted it last year. It is shortcuts that are not really shortcuts. It's a foundation, and it's giving you, I guess the shortcut is having somebody who knows psychology in your pocket to help you get to where you want to
The
go.
shortcut is you and your knowledge and that you created it. And really in bite-sized pieces, it's easy to digest and actually do I don't want to call them assignments, but whatever you're doing that day, that's what's so great about it.
Thank you, Rebecca.
It's amazing, everybody. Please check it
Yeah.
out. I burned what wasn't serving me in 2024 yesterday, and it felt really amazing.
Oh my God, I burned it too.
It felt so good. I almost wanted to light up a cigarette afterwards, but I don't smoke, so.
Oh my gosh. Well, on that smoking note, on that hot fire note, Joy, will you share about our next week? We have a really awesome special guest
We
coming
have
next
our
week to the Laugh Cry
first
Club.
guest of the podcast and first guest of 2025. We're going to have many guests this year. It's going to be about pet loss and grief around losing a pet. And our dear friend, Marianne McKiernan, the animal communicator that Rebecca has referenced and I've talked about
Yeah.
many times, a dear friend of mine for years and years in the puppy raiser community of canine companions. She's going to be on the show to talk all things animal communication. What the heck is that? How does she talk to animals that have passed or even pets that are alive? I've had her
Mhm.
talk to some of my pets that are still living because I'm just curious about what the heck is going on with maybe a behavior issue. But she is just an amazing soul. And Rebecca is trained specifically in pet loss and losing a pet and the grief that comes along with that. So we're going to have a really awesome conversation. And I can't wait to share. That's next week.
Yes, I can't wait.
Well, if you are
Well,
gonna pivot in and make some awesome, fun changes, take the energy from the Laugh Cry Club podcast today and go do something for yourself to take one teeny tiny step towards where you want to be. And we've got you. And
get
Yeah.
that movement going.
yeah.
Get it going. Let's
Oh
get
my
it
gosh, if you
started.
could see
Yeah.
us, we're dancing.
We're
Yes, we
moving. We're
are.
feeling
Oh
it.
my God, the rando dance connection.
We love you guys.
Love
Thank you
y'all.
so much for supporting. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.
That's life, baby.